Smile, be, chat, join for networking.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Fidel Beauhill from Legally Secure. I got that nickname because I go around telling everybody that you're all going to die. It is one inescapable fact of your life that this is going to happen. My job is to go around helping people to plan for that moment, all right, and help them do so as cost effectively as possible. I've been an estate planner for 10 years now. I know, I don't look that old. And I've seen enough things to know that I have not seen it all right? One of the most common issues that I come across is pure ignorance of the legal system that we have to go through when this moment arrives, okay? So the idea of this foresight today is just to highlight some of the biggest misconceptions in my line of work and some of the things that everybody needs to think about, all right? This is the first one. I used to run a really big estate planning company, all right? I had 63 guys all over the country going out taking will instructions, and I used to give them a little dictaphone. They used to carry it around with them, and when they started doing the appointment with the clients, they would record everything they said. I had one of my favourite guys, he was a mate of mine before he came to work for me as well, and I sat there one day listening to one of his appointments. His clients were a head teacher and a big-time company director. And the meeting went along, and I heard him say, "Don't worry about that, my love. Let me just reach into my folder and show you the flowchart of intesticles." I've never forgotten that moment, and I can't take this word seriously anymore, but the correct word is the laws of intestacy, all right? And these are the laws that take over in this country if you die without the preparation of a will, all right? The laws of intestacy, one of the most common things that people say to me, especially blokes, because we're invincible, we know that, we're never going to die. I don't care what happens. It'll all just go to my wife and then it will go to the kids, won't it? I don't need to write a will. What do I need to bother with one of those for? And that is not true. Did you know that? It's not true. I know these numbers might seem quite big for a lot of people, but I know if you live in London and Bristol, this affects some very, very normal people. So, the laws of intestacy state that your spouse is actually only entitled to the first £250,000. All right? After that, all of the rest of it gets split in half. Half will go to your spouse, and the other half will go to your children. The worst part about that is that your children get it when they're 18. This happened to Rick Mail, all right? He left behind a couple of million quid. For some reason, even though he nearly died 3 times before he actually did, he didn't leave a will, all right? His wife got the first 250,000. Most of it was in his big property. Nice pad in London. It was worth a couple of million quid. So his wife was entitled to the first 250,000. Yeah, she got half of the balance, and the rest, which was nearly £1 million, went straight to his kids, his young kids. And at the age of 18, they're going to inherit £400,000 each. Cast your mind back to when you were 18, guys. Listen, no good will come of that. All right, no good will ever come of that. Even 21, a lot of people like to leave it to their kids at 21. Now, at 21, I was quite sensible. I was running businesses. Yeah. If I had got £400,000 at the age of 21, I would have had a go, but I would have made a lot of very bad business investments, I would expect, and I'd still be in the same position I am now. So, rule number 1, make even the most basic free will from W.H. Smith's, do it online, write it on the back of a fag packet, will stop this from happening. All right? I leave everything to my wife, signed in front of a witness. We'll solve this problem. All right? Possibly even save your children's lives. That's misconception number 1. Are we all on board? Excellent. So the next part of the foresight, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 most important things in your lives, probably. If you haven't got one of them, you've certainly got 2 of them, or if not 3, all 3. My eldest daughter did this for me last night, because she was insisting that I couldn't go on TV with stick figures. So she went around doing, it's actually pretty fantastic, isn't it? So we're going to talk a little bit about kids, we're going to talk about your house, and then we're going to talk about your business. I'm going to whiz through it quite quickly, so we've got a bit of time left for some questions. So, misconceptions when it comes to children. Are they all, yes, she carried over the little sad faces, the little orphans. So sad. Serious moment. 24,000 children a year in this country lose a parent. All right? 24,000 children a year lose a parent. Only 26% of parents have bothered to make a will to appoint guardians. That doesn't make any sense to me. You'll spend 200 quid on a new pair of shoes for your kids. You'll take them out to see the Christmas lights. But to invest money in a will to make sure that your kids are looked after properly after you've gone seems to be way down on people's priority list for some reason. I have no idea why. So, one of the most important things you'll do in your will if you've got children is nominate a guardian. Probably shouldn't say this on camera, I've just redone my will to change our guardians. That's another story. So, people often, one of the common things I hear is that people go, I don't want to choose my parents as guardians because by the time I die, my parents will be too old to do that. There's some logic in there somewhere. I can't see it, but anyway. Choose the best people at that point now. The way you write a will is as if it's going to happen in 30 days' time, all right? And that's only because I come with a 30-day life guarantee, all right? After day 31, you're all on your own, kid. I come with a 30-day guarantee. After that, you have to design your will as if it's going to happen. So choose the best people, all right? When you appoint somebody as a guardian, it doesn't mean the children actually have to go and live with them. What you're giving that person is something called parental responsibility, all right? I don't know if you knew, but you don't actually have to keep your kids at home with you. Did you know that? It's cool. I'll tell you now. You can actually kick them out of your house and go and send them to with your mum and dad now, if you want to. It's true. There you go. If nothing else, that's my golden nugget. There you go. All right. So they don't have to live with you because you have parental responsibility. It's your responsibility to decide where those children live. All right. When you die, in your will, you appoint a guardian and you give them that same parental responsibility. So if at that moment they're the wrong people, they can choose to put them in the right place. So just make sure it's somebody you trust, somebody that cares about your kids. The other reason why grandparents make the best guardians is because they're the only people in the world that will use their own money to bring up your kids. All right? I hear so many people going, oh, I'm going to ask my best mate. Yeah, they got kids the same age and everything else like that. And I go, right, okay, your kid's 2. If you die in 31 days, how much do children cost to bring up a year? It's something like £26,000 a year or something like that, isn't it? Is your money going to even stretch that far till the time that your kid is 21 or 25? I doubt it. So unless you've got some serious insurance products in place, all right, you need to think about whether there's enough money for other people to actually bring them up, especially if you're not going to appoint grandparents. Because grandparents, listen, they might grow up eating bubblegum and crisps every day, but grandparents are the best guardians possible in my eyes. Another quick point on parental responsibility. Some of the things that I come up against are the blended family. Thank you, Alicia Keys. She came up with that phrase and released a song about it. It's made it much easier for me to explain about kids from previous relationships. The blended family. If you're a lady and you've got custody of your children, all right, and I come across it quite a lot where they say, I don't want their dad to be the guardian of the children if I die, all right? There's a key date in this. If your children were born prior to December 2003 and you were married to their dad at that point, the father will have automatic parental responsibility, which means if you appoint another guardian, that's a big court case, okay? If your children were born after December 2003, you don't even need to have been married, okay? If his name is on the birth certificate, he will have automatic parental responsibility. If you don't nominate him as a guardian, you're causing a court case, all right? They don't call me bad news for nothing. Look at these serious faces. Right, let's talk about houses. Woohoo! That's a nice house, isn't it? Well, I'm so proud. I wish she hadn't done our A-levels now. So, in this country, there are 2 ways of owning a house, all right? Often gets confused. Joint tenants and tenants in common. 98% of the people I ever come across own their house as what's known as joint tenants, right? A joint tenancy means you both jointly own 100% of your property. I'm not going to do a magic trick. I wish I could. If one of you dies, the other one gets the house. It doesn't matter what you write in your will, a joint tenancy supersedes everything else. All right? And that sounds like a fantastic idea. And when your conveyancing solicitor says it to you, here, why don't you become joint tenants? Because if one of you dies, the other one gets the house. Everyone goes, woohoo, that's the one I want. One thing they didn't think about, toy boys and floozies. If you die, the younger you are, this is more of a problem, although I blame the internet. If one of you dies, the surviving spouse, the younger you are, the less likely it is that they're going to remain single for the rest of your life. This often results in quite a few arguments during my appointments. So, if you pass away, your wife or your husband gets a new toy boy or floozy, they live in the house for 6 months or more, and then they find out about their big life insurance policy and kick them down the stairs, the toy boy or floozy will inherit the house. All right? They'll get their sticky mitts on the cash. The problem is, usually they'll have children from their previous relationships as well. And the next thing you know, that property has gone off to 2 children you've never met before. This happens in real life. All of you go away today and speak to your family and friends about this situation. You will hear stories of this happening in real life. I get 3 or 4 phone calls about this every month. People going, my stepdad's in the house and he won't get out. All right, it happens a lot. It's real. There's a simple solution. First of all, this could be a magic trick. You've got to cut the house in half. Like that idea? We've got to talk. I can see a business collaboration coming in here. We cut the house in half. We create something called tenants in common. It means you own half the house each. No coins, no trapdoors. This gives you the ability in your will to leave your half of the house as you see fit. And what you should do is in your will you create a little trust. That means that the property goes in trust for the benefit of your children. Surviving spouse has the right to stay in that property for the rest of their life. They can even sell the house and use all the money to buy something else where they don't have those bad memories of you falling down the stairs and breaking your neck. What they can't do is sell the whole house and use all the money and spend it all on shoes. Sorry, Jane. Good thing or bad thing. So, basic bit of insurance policy. If you're not tenants in common and you don't have a protected property trust in your will, all right, do so. Hands up who's got a business. Hands up who's got a will. It's a niche I've got because obviously I do a lot of networking. About 70% of my clients are business owners. I have yet to see a business owner's will that takes into account the fact that they own a business. All right? I've yet to see a proper one. And it worries me a lot. The biggest problem that I see, a will saying, all right, I leave everything to my wife and then everything to my children. Okay? When you set up a limited company, who's got a limited company? Yeah. Who knows what articles of association are? Who's read them? The solicitor. That's it. Obviously, Mr. Stats. So, in your articles of association, that will determine where the shares of your company can go. Doesn't matter what you write in your will. The articles of association, a limited company is a separate legal entity, all right? And you're its daddy. You've got to look after it properly, all right? And the articles of association will say so, but nobody reads them. Nobody knows what they say. So one of the things you've got to make sure is that your will doesn't cause a problem with your articles of association. Best way of doing that is with a shareholder agreement and things like that. Okay? Shareholder agreements are really, really important. So is key person insurance. And just generally, if you've got a business partner, have a conversation with them, especially if they're a member of your family, or even worse, your wife or husband. Have a conversation about it. Get things written down in black and white while you're all still happy and you still love each other. All right? Because when that stops happening, that's when the poo hits the fan. Executors. Now, if I died, both me and my wife both run our own companies, all right? But my wife has no idea how to run my business. No matter how much I tell her about it every evening and how fantastic it is, she really wouldn't be able to run it, especially if I just died, all right? She's going to either be in mourning, led in bed, crying, or she's going to be out downtown looking for a new toy boy. Either way, she's not going to be trying to wind up my business properly and seeing my clients and collecting the money that people owe me, all right? So a really great thing to do is to appoint your accountant as a professional executor to handle your business affairs. You can appoint a separate business executor if you want to, somebody that knows how to wind up the business. Your executors are duty bound to maintain the value of your estate and pass that on to your beneficiaries. It's unfair to ask someone to do that if they don't know how. All right, so think about the executors. Business continuation clauses is something I very rarely see in a will. All right, and again, that allows your executors to carry on trading as if they were you. Without that, all right, the business has pretty much got to cease trading. All right, and in the 6 or 9 or months or a year that it's going to take to obtain a grant of probate and sell the business, it's not going to be worth anything if it hasn't been trading. Powers of attorney, also really important because you're all going to die, but first of all, some of you are going to go mad, all right? We've heard from Martin, these things happen, all right? But business owners, we put ourselves under great stress. We work hard, we work long hours, all right? We are susceptible to these things. We eat bad food because we're too busy. Powers of attorney, wills are great. Listen, everyone needs a will, but at the end of the day, they're written for somebody else, all right? When they come to fruition, you're dead. Yeah, you're doing them for someone else. Powers of attorney are for you, all right? They allow the people that understand you, the people that know you, and the people that care about you to be able to look after you properly when you're at your most vulnerable, all right, when you've lost mental capacity. Most people see powers of attorney are to do with dementia, Alzheimer's and other degenerative illnesses, but realistically, the main reason why people need power of attorney or lose capacity are for things you don't see coming, like strokes, heart attacks and road traffic accidents. MMA, boxing, horse riding, things like that. There are two different documents, one for your health and welfare and one for your property and financial affairs. All right, they're both two separate documents. You can appoint two separate people to look after both of them. All right. They both do exactly what they say on the tin. Health and welfare is used on a decision-by-decision basis, and the most important decision you'll make when you sign your health and welfare power of attorney is, do I allow my attorneys to make decisions regarding life-sustaining treatment or not? I'll let that sink in. Do I give my wife permission to switch the machine off? That's basically what that one is signed up for. Property and financial affairs can be used even when you've got capacity, all right? So it's a very, very useful document. You can be physically unable. You can be lying in the Bahamas and think, sod it. Ring up your attorneys, sell everything, send me the money, I'm staying here. All right? Property and financial affairs power of attorney is really, really important. This is also the one that doubles up as a business power of attorney. So you can set up a separate property and financial affairs power of attorney and appoint your accountant alongside of your spouse and allow them to run your business for you if you're unable to do so. We've got 3 minutes left. We can open the floor to questions. We're all going to die. And some of you are going to go mad first. So hope for the best, but plan for the worst, and always ask for the bad news first.
Give it up, people.
Smile, be chat, join for networking.